walked through fire, we've carried the pain. Brothers and sisters, we rise again. Warriors standing, hearts made of steel. We know the struggle, we know what's real. Ops for vets, we survived the fight. Shoulder to shoulder, we shine.
Good morning and welcome to Ops for Vets. I'm your host, Rocio, and today we have a very special guest from DGS, Miss Mariela Whyte. And we're going to learn what you do now that you're certified. So I'm very delighted and excited to have our guest, Mariela Whyte, and we are going to go down the process of what to do now that you are certified.
Thank you so much, Rocio. I appreciate that very warm welcome. I will go ahead and share my screen now. Wonderful. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and for your time. My name is Mariela Whyte, and with that, we will get started. So this is our Level 2 webinar. I am certified, now what? Most of you might have already taken our Level 1 webinar titled How to Do Business with the State of California. And if you haven't yet, do not worry. There's a lot of very valuable information for you to still learn from today. So here's my contact information. Again, I am a bilingual business outreach liaison with the Department of General Services, specifically on the outreach team with the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Enterprise Services. In this role, I educate business owners about the benefits and opportunities of pursuing a small business certification, a disabled veteran business enterprise certification, and contract opportunities with the state of California. You will see my contact information here. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any other questions. This slide will also be shared at the end of the PowerPoint presentation. That way you have my email and my phone number, and you'll also have a copy of the PowerPoint that you can reference back at your own time. Since we do have a lot of material to cover in this short hour, and I want to be respectful of your time, I ask that you please type any questions that you might have into either the Q&A box or the chat box as they come to you, and we will have Q&A slides at the end of each section that I will stop and read through any questions that might have come through. So with that, let's get started. So here are the topics that we will be covering today, which basically translate to how to best position your business to be successful in getting contracts with the state of California. Let's start with an overview of your eProcure profile. So your eProcure profile is going to be similar to profiles that you maintain with lots of organizations, be it personally or professionally. The information you have on your profile is generally going to consist of your contact information, information about you, and your business. There's going to be basic information such as phone number, email, mailing address, website, and physical address. And you'll also have information on your profile that describes what you do. Essentially, what products or services are you going to sell to the state of California? And these are going to take the forms of keywords and UNSPSC codes. And keywords and UNSPSC codes are one of the most significant parts of your profile when it comes to getting those contract opportunities. But unfortunately, they are one of the most common parts of profile where business owners tend to make mistakes. So let's talk about both keywords and UNSPSC codes. I'm going to show you why they're important, where they are in your profile, and how you can update them. So how do you describe the goods and services your company can sell? You do this through UNSPSC classifications and keywords, both incorporated in eProcure. And you might be asking yourself, well, why is this important? Shouldn't the state just know what I sell based on my profile? Well, state automated emails for contract opportunities are based on UNSPSC codes. That means that when a bid goes up on eProcure, it's going to have UNSPSC codes attached to it that describe what they're looking for. If you have those codes in your profile, then you automatically receive a notification that there's a bid in your field of work. Keywords, very similarly, but it's when a buyer manually goes into eProcure to look for a service or a product, they're going to put keywords into that search. If you have those same keywords in your profile, you're going to pop up on their list of results. And if they can find you, they can contact you for contract opportunities. So getting your certification is the easy part. The real work begins when you actually have to do a little bit of homework, and we want to make sure that you have a strong profile. So let's start with keywords. Keywords, again, describe goods and services. And like I mentioned earlier, they allow buyers to find your business. And a fun fact, you choose the keywords that are going to be listed in your profile, for who knows what your business does better than you. So here's some tips to help you succeed in picking the correct keywords, because there's no minimum or maximum to how many you can have, and there's nobody really looking at your profile to tell you, oh, this is good or this is bad. You're the one that's going to have to take the time to ensure that you're covering everything your business does. So when you go in and you're thinking about what keywords to add or remove, right, because you can edit this at your profile at any time, think of using individual words and not sentences. A state buyer isn't going to go in and look for I sell bulbs. They'll put the word bulbs. So you want to make sure that you have that in there. Also, in that same tone, use singular and plural, right? What if the state buyer just puts bulb as in singular, but you have bulbs plural in your profile? Unfortunately, the system is not that smart to pull them both. So you want to make sure that you're including both. Use common words, but also technical jargon, right? Let's say that there's technical words that are very commonly used in your line of work. Maybe they're not common knowledge to the average person that doesn't work in your field, but to your field, it's very common. So definitely add those in there, because it's very likely that a buyer will use that as well. Also, use broad words and specific words. Use synonyms, right? Garbage, trash, waste, they're all the same thing, but different people might look it up by different words. So if there's synonyms in your line of work, make sure that you include those. We mentioned using single words, not sentences. However, multi-word keywords, such as information technology, those are appropriate, right? So those we do want to include. And lastly, copy keywords from your competitors, right? They've already done the research for you. So later on in this PowerPoint, I will actually show you how you can see what small businesses are getting contracts in the same field of work that you're in. You can look up their profiles and see what keywords they have, what UNSPSC codes they have. Clearly, they're being successful. They're getting these contracts. So if they apply to you, make sure that you copy those to your profile as well. Okay, now let's move on to UNSPSC codes. So UNSPSC stands for United Nations Standard Products and Services Code. It's going to be an 8-digit number with a written description. And it's going to, again, identify a good or a service. And these codes are what allow buyers to find your business automatically through those notifications. So don't get hung up on the numbers. You do not need to know the codes, because the way that you're going to find them is the exact same way as keywords. So for each code, it's going to be part of a hierarchy of 4 levels, and each level is determined 2, 4, 6, or 8 digits, with any remaining digits named 0. Now, I mentioned don't get hung up on the numbers. So why am I explaining the numbers, right? There's a reason for that, because you're going to see that think of it like an upside down pyramid, where the more broad categories are at the top, and the further you go down, the more specific they become. So the only thing I want you to look at this is the numbers, the number of zeros that are in the number. For the example here, right? Level 1 has number 1 and 4 identified, and the rest are zeros. And the description is very, very broad. Paper, materials, and products. What does that mean? Is that paper for stationery? Is that paper for a copier? Is that paper for toilet paper or hand towels? It can mean anything, right? And that's why it's so broad and there's a lot of zeros. Versus if you look at level 4, it still starts with that 1 and 4, but all the digits are specified, down to the last one being a 7. And you can see now the description is very specific. Printer or copier paper. The only reason I'm explaining these to you is because when you put in your keywords, make sure that you are picking codes from level 3 and 4. So the less zeros, the better. And the reason for that is if you have levels 1 and 2, you're going to get a lot of emails about a lot of contract opportunities that might be somewhat similar to what you do, but not enough, right? Let's say you sell printer and copier paper, but you have level 1 and 2. You're going to get all those emails for toilet paper and tissue paper and stationery paper. You don't want to be looking through a ton of emails to find the ones that actually fit you. So take a little bit of time on the front end. And when you're looking at your keywords, try to use codes that have the fewer zeros as possible. That's just going to help you narrow it down a little bit better. And if you're new to state contracting and you're thinking, well, I want to have them all just to be sure, that's totally fine. It's completely up to you. The only reason we recommend levels 3 and 4 are so that you don't get a lot of spam, essentially. And another thing I want to mention on keywords, because if you're already certified, then you know that getting certified is a two-step process, right? You get registered, which simply means you create a profile. The reason being everybody that does contract with the state has to have a profile. But then if you qualify, you can get certified. And both of them utilize UNSPSE codes, but they use it a little bit differently. So your bidder profile, where you just registered, this information is not going to be publicly displayed, and the codes that you list here are going to still result in system-generated notifications for solicitations, but the codes that you put here can be aspirational for products and services. For example, let's say you're considering adding a new product or service to your line of work, but you're unsure, is there a need for it? Is it worth my time? Then you can add that UNSPSE code to your bidder profile to see if you receive any notifications about it. However, your certification profile has to be accurate to what you actually sell. So you can see the differences here side to side. Bidder profile, not publicly displayed. Certification profile is, because that's how state buyers find you. You get notifications from both, but the big difference is in your bidder profile, your codes can be aspirational, while in your certification profile, they have to be accurate to what your business does. You don't want a State Department to contact you for a contract opportunity and you tell them, oh, I don't do that. Actually, I was just thinking of maybe doing it, because obviously that might leave a bad taste in that department, purchasing department. They might not contact you for the next opportunity. So just make sure that you are paying attention to those two. Alrighty, and here we have some tips for how to select good UNSPSE codes. Remember, if a buyer can find your business, then they can contact you for contract opportunities. So make sure that you take the time to add all UNSPSE codes that fit your business. And again, you can do this at any time. You can edit them. If you remove a product or service, you can remove them. Again, if you add something, you can add them. And like I mentioned earlier, I will go over how to look up your competition so that you can make sure that you have those keywords and UNSPSE codes on your profile as well. With that, we can stop for a quick Q&A slide if there's any questions that have come through.
Yes. And thank you so much for presenting those slides, Mariela. I'm sorry, there was an echo. Let me see. So we do have a question here from NSAD dash Y2W. How many keywords should I use? Question. Is there a limit or is more better? So how many keywords should I use? Is there a limit or is more better?
Great question. So there is no limit. We always recommend the more the better, because you do want to make sure that you're covering everything that you do, right? Because if you miss a product or service and then a state buyer goes and looks for it, if you don't have that keyword in your profile, then you're not going to get that notification. The only time too many codes can hurt you is if your codes are all over the place. Let's say you have codes for catering, but also for transportation services. Then a state buyer that's looking at your profile might wonder, are they doing too much? They're dipping into a little bit too much of a different category. Are they going to be able to provide the service I'm looking for? That's the only time too many codes would hurt you. But honestly, you want to make sure that you're covering everything you do. If what you do is very basic, right? You only provide one or two products or services, then you won't have that many, and that's totally normal. So there is no minimum, there's no maximum. You just want to think and make sure that you're covering everything that you do. And a good way of doing that also is if you want to take a look at other companies that do what you do or similar, take a look at their profile, see how many codes do they have, because you might look and see that you've missed something.
Thank you so much, Mariela. And that's the only question that we have right now for this section.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rocio. And then, like I mentioned, we'll have plenty of these Q&A slides throughout at the end of each subject. So please feel free to throw your questions in the Q&A. All righty. With that, let's move on. So now that we know what keywords and UNSPSE codes are and why they're so important, let's talk about how you update them in your CaliProcure profile. So like with anything with state contracting, you will want to go to caliprocure.ca.gov. So definitely bookmark that page if you haven't already. This is where you're going to find all current contract opportunities, all past purchases, trainings, resources, everything will be here. So definitely bookmark that page. And like I mentioned, we have our bidder profile and our certification profile. So I'm going to speak of them individually. Let's start with the bidder profile, which again was just when you first registered before you got certified. So like with everything, caliprocure.ca.gov, and we're going to click login to make sure that we come in our profile. So it's that little button that you see right at the top. And then with that, we're going to click Manage Notification Profile. So you should be able to see that circled right underneath my account, that second button. While you're here, make sure that you've selected yes to receive subcontracting notifications, and that you've also clicked yes to receive CSCR bidding opportunity notifications. I can't tell you how many times we have small businesses reach out to us and they're like, hey, I certified, I put in my codes, I'm not getting any communication from you guys at all. Well, they marked no to receive no notifications from us, and that is why. I don't know why we have that button, to be honest, because obviously if you're in eProcure, you want to receive contract opportunities, but it is in there, so make sure that you have selected yes for both of those. And then while you're in your profile also, right here on the left, you can add the email addresses that you want those notifications to go to. Make sure that you're using email addresses that are checked frequently so you don't miss out on any opportunities. And as you can see, you can add multiple email addresses. So make sure that you are not tying it to just one employee, because what if that employee leaves and now you don't have access to that email address and it gets you locked out? So make sure that you add multiple email addresses if it's relevant, or generic email addresses that you know the passwords won't be changing to, right? So info at, or marketing at, or the owner of the company. Those are usually good email addresses to have on there. And then on the right, you can add service areas where you want to receive notifications about. Let's say that if you can offer your products and services statewide, then you can just click on that little button and it'll cover all the counties. But let's say you're just in Los Angeles, right? Then you don't want to receive notifications for Fresno and the Bay Area, Northern California. That's, again, just going to clutter your inbox. So here you can select just the counties that you want to receive notifications in. All right, then we're going to come to the UNSPSC search for your bidder profile. So if you already know the UNSPSC code by number, which nobody does, even only the most trained small businesses that know they've been doing business with the state for a really long time and they know what UNSPSC codes hit for them again and again, they might know the number by heart. Most of us, we use the description, which again, it's just a keyword that describes the product or service that you do. So you're going to type words that match your products or services to find the relevant codes here. In our example, we used paper, right? So we're going to continue with that. So you can see the relevant codes listed here, and you're going to check the box to the ones you want. So for this example, we want to add those two that you see circled. You're going to scroll to the bottom to click the add button, and then they're going to appear on the right-hand side now. Right there, you're going to be able to see all the codes that you want to add for your products or services. You can click the red X to remove it, or you can continue adding as many more as you'd like. Alrighty, so that was the bidder profile. Do we have any questions on that one before I move into the certification? Okay, not seeing anything so far. We will continue. Okay, so now let's go to UNSPSC codes and keywords in your certification profile. So again, you're going to go back to your profile. You want to make sure that you're logged in, and you're going to click the button that says Manage Certification in either one of those two spots. That's going to take you to your certification profile. Here, you're going to click Amend Application. Now, don't worry, we're not changing anything in your application other than just looking at keywords and UNSPSC codes. So your certification application will open. Again, we're not changing anything unless you want to, right? While you're in here, it's usually good to check, make sure that email addresses are correct, phone numbers, any information that could have changed. You want to make sure that you're reviewing it periodically. For the keywords and UNSPSC codes, you want to go to that other tab, which is the 5th tab from the top. Unfortunately, we can't just click on that tab and jump straight to that. So you will want to scroll down and click Save and Continue 5 times to get to that 5th tab titled Other. Again, while you're here, just make sure that you're reviewing the information and everything is correct. So once you've clicked Save and Continue 5 times, you'll get to the Other tab. This is what it will look like. On the left-hand side, you can review the service areas your business serves. Again, bidder profile and certification profile will have both of these. Bidder profile is aspirational, right? Maybe you want to see what opportunities can come up in those areas before you expand there. Certification profile has to be accurate to what your business currently does. And on the right side is where you're going to manage your keywords. So there you're going to enter your keyword one at a time. Like I mentioned, no minimum, no maximum. You want to make sure that you're painting a clear picture of what your business does. And you'll simply click that little plus button to add more rows, or the red X to delete a keyword. When you scroll a little further down on that same page, then you're going to get to the section of UNSPSCs. And here you can add and delete UNSPSCs, and you're going to see this very helpful button that says, do you want to transfer UNSPSC codes from your bidder registration? So remember, we already spent all that time putting them into our bidder registration profile. So you can transfer them all over here just by clicking yes to that button, so you don't have to start all over again, remember what you've added. But just remember while you're here, if you added any UNSPSC codes to your bidder profile that were aspirational, that you remove them from this one. So feel free to transfer everything so you don't start from scratch, but go through them, make sure that everything that's there is current to what you actually do at the moment. And then if you want to add any additional ones, you just click that little button that says add UNSPSC classification. Alrighty, and it's going to look right here. So again, if you're adding any additional ones, you just click the description right here, look up, you'll add it again, just the same way we did bidder registration profile. So again, this example was paper. Here's 2 that we want to add. We scroll down to the bottom and click save, and now they're added to our profile. And again, you can click the X to delete or add any at any moment. And while we're on the topic of updating your profile, I wanted to pause really quickly to discuss the supplier diversity information, because this is a button that you will see on your profile. So back in 2022, the Department of General Services began collecting voluntary diversity data information from certified businesses, currently registered businesses, and new businesses within their CRIS profile. And collecting this voluntary diversity data is simply part of California's commitment to support diversity, equity, and inclusion in state procurement. This diversity data simply helps us evaluate the effectiveness of our existing outreach programs and provide a better understanding of what areas of the state we need to focus our attention in and add more targeted outreach efforts. So our goal is simply to ensure that California's supplier base is reflective of our very diverse state. So this information is completely voluntary. You can change it, remove it, make it visible or not at any point within your CRIS profile. It does not grant you any type of contracting preference. So this is not like minority-based organizations. It does not add any of that. It's simply for us to know, okay, this is where we have a good presence and this is where we need to pay more attention to within the state. And you're going to find that on your profile. So again, in your work center, you can just click the button that says manage diversity information. It's going to open that same tab and you can enter your information there. And like I said, it's really helpful for us internally, but for you guys, it doesn't provide any type of advantage or hinder you in any way. So it is completely voluntary. Okay, so now that you've ensured you have a strong profile and we are getting both those automatic notifications as well as finding strong keywords and UNSPSC codes, let's talk about how do we find current active contract opportunities. So contract opportunities are called solicitations, and they're going to be found on the California State Contract Register, which is going to be on CRIS. And that's one of the ones that we click yes to receiving notifications from. And you can also post advertisements on the CSCR. So we're going to go to caliprocure.ca.gov again, and you want to make sure you're logged into your account, because you remember you as a certified business have access to contract opportunities that are exclusive to certified businesses. So if you just click that start search without logging into your profile, you're going to see what everybody else sees. But when you're logged in, then you have access to all those contract opportunities that are just for small certified businesses or disabled veteran-owned certified businesses. So always make sure that you're logged into your profile, and it's going to look like this. So how do you know if you're logged in or not? If you're not, this is going to be your homepage. If you are logged in, you're going to see your information. So now that we're logged in, then we can click on that Start Search button. And it's going to take you to the State Contracts Register page. Now you can click simply by event name, which is just a keyword, event ID if you already know the specific solicitation you're looking for, or department. Let's say you know a specific state department purchases a lot in your field of work, so you just want to see all the contract opportunities that they have. You can do that as well. I normally recommend using the advanced search criteria so that you can really narrow down your search. When you click on that button, then it's going to take you to new categories. Now you can see UNSPSE codes, you can see service areas, and you can see contractor license type. So you can use codes in your profile to identify potential solicitations. You can narrow it down based on areas where you do the work, or if you have a contractor license type that you need to look up, you can find it directly to that. The results will So the event ID is going to be just a generic number that's assigned to a solicitation. The event name is going to provide a brief description of the solicitation, including the department name that's making the purchase. So we'll click on the top one just to get an example of what these look like. So the event details page is going to hold a lot of very valuable information about the solicitation. One thing I really want you to pay attention to is the end date. Now, I know this could be a little bit small depending on your screen, but this example that's circled right there, you can see it, says that this solicitation ends at 2 p.m. February 17, 2021. It's an old example, but that date and 2 p.m. That means that you have to submit your bid before 2 p.m. If you log in at CaliProcure at 2:01 p.m., this solicitation is no longer going to be accepted, and we would hate for you to miss out on a contract opportunity simply because you missed that submission deadline. So always make sure you make a note out of that date and the time, and you give yourself ample time in case you have any questions, in case anything's missing. Also, if you have any questions about the solicitation, right, something is not clear or you want more clarification on it, or you're wondering maybe if there will be an extension, you can see here circled the contract manager information. So this is going to be the person that's going to be the manager for this specific solicitation. So this isn't somebody who you would market your business to for that whole department. This is just somebody who you would reach out with questions for this specific contract opportunity. I will tell you who you market yourself to for each department later on. Then let's say you've looked at this briefly and you're like, oh, this is something I'm interested in. How do I get more information? Then you're going to want to click that top blue tile on the right-hand side that says View Event Package. That's going to open and give you all the details about how to apply, all the details about the solicitation. And again, if you have any questions, you want to reach out to that contract administrator. Also, always make sure to see if there's a required pre-bid conference for the solicitations. Sometimes they tend to be virtual, they're short, 30 minutes, but sometimes they are required. So right there, this one doesn't have one, but always make sure that you're looking at that and take a note of that date and time as well. And lastly, you can post vendor ads there on that second button. So let's say you're a subcontractor seeking a prime, right? You can do the electrical component of this job and not the construction. You can post an ad here, or vice versa. You're a prime contractor, you can do the construction, but you need a sub for the electrical. You can post an ad here for that. So when you click on that button, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to enter your name, your email, your phone number, the title of your company, and the deadline for anyone interested. And you'll also select if you're a prime seeking a sub or a sub seeking a prime. Then you're going to enter your advertisement in that description box. All you have is this text box, and it has a character limit. So make sure that you make each word count. And I always recommend put your certification ID number right at the start so that any interested businesses can easily find you on CaliProcure. Okay, with that, we can see if we have any additional questions. Alrighty, not seeing anything new, no worries. I know it's early, maybe some of you guys are still having your coffee, no worries. We have plenty of time still for more Q&As. Okay, so with that, so that was current active solicitations, right? What is currently available for me to select from? Now let's switch gears and talk about past purchases and doing market research. Let's say you want to know, right, who buys my products or services within the state? Who do I reach out to market myself, to tell them like, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do. I want to start contracting with your department. So everything that the state buys is public facing. So you can see what every state department has spent as far back as 2015 when this data started getting collected in the system. So to research past purchases, you want to go to the State Contract and Procurement Registration System, affectionately nicknamed Skippers for short, because we do not want to be saying State Contracts and Procurement Registration System over and over again. So Skippers is the holy grail of market research. Simply put, it's a database of past state purchases that goes back to 2015. It's going to include all state and non-state dollars. It's public facing. It's found on eProcure. And this is what you can use to find patterns in one, what departments and organizations buy your products and services so that you can determine, okay, this is who I need to reach out to. And also, if there's anything that's cyclical, you can see it here so that you know, oh, this is going to be coming up again. And this is also the tool I referenced earlier when I said you can conduct market research to research your competitors. Here you can see who's getting contracts in the same field of work that I'm in, and you can look up their profiles to see what keywords and UNSPSC codes they have. So how do we find Skippers? You're going to go back to eProcure, and you're going to click the Find Public Procurement Information tile. And then you're going to click that second link from the top that says State Contracting and Procurement Registration System. And it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. You can search within a variety of parameters and filters. Most often, though, we recommend just search by description. Use a keyword in your profile and put that in there so that you can kind of narrow it down. So it's going to be a little bit of homework because you're going to have to put each individual keyword, right? Keyword, then search, see what pops up. Keyword, search, see what pops up. And it's laid out like this, and it's a spreadsheet. So there's more columns to the right that you can't see on my screen because this is just a screenshot. If I included all the columns, it would be itty bitty tiny, but this gives you an idea. You're going to see the basic information such as what department made the purchase, the business it went to, how much money was spent. And you can download this as well if you want to analyze it, use filters, different formulas on Excel. And this is where you can see, okay, what departments buy my products and services so I can reach out to them, and who my competition is. And like I mentioned, because this database does go back to 2015, you can imagine the volume of data. So you want to be as specific as possible in your search terms because queries can take a really long time to populate. So my biggest piece of advice for you here is search by short date ranges at a time. So maybe look up 1 to 2 years at a time. If you don't find what you're looking for or you want to keep going further, then look up another 2 years, and so forth. Because if you just leave the where it says transaction start date from and to, if you leave that blank, it's going to pull up everything from 2015. And that honestly can take hours to download. You might think my computer crashed or it's not working, it's frozen, when really it's still thinking. So make sure that you narrow that search window just for your own sake. And then another big thing to note here is, in case you have specific questions regarding, well, why did this department purchase X item instead of Y? These are going to be specific questions for that awarding department. It does not fall in the scope of our office, but luckily for you, on the same sheet over to the right, which you can't see, you're going to see the name and the phone number and the email of the state department person that made the purchase. So you can reach out directly to them with any questions that you might have. Now, I know that was a lot of information and not very many slides. So let's see if there's any questions about this. Let's see.
Yes, we do have two. Well, we have one comment, one question. So we have a question from Tim Lincoln, 111153. Will eProcure ever list the people who have downloaded an RFB or RFP?
Great question. Not to my knowledge. So as far as I know, but I don't work on the back end of that. We can reach out to Fiscal if you'd like to find that out, because Fiscal is the company that runs the platform for the state. But not to my knowledge, that's not something that they track. No. But great
Awesome.
question.
And then we have another comment from Linda Cox 2026. She's just saying, hello. Good morning, Miss Linda. Thank you for watching and supporting our show. And just a quick reminder for the audience, on October 8th, we are going to have our 50th annual Veterans event in Moreno Valley. Registration is open. It's free for the attendees. And anyone that's a veteran-owned business, we are supporting and sponsoring tables. So if you are a business owner, veteran-owned, and are interested in getting your business sponsored or would like to put your business out there in the city of Moreno Valley, please reach out. We are taking applications and we would absolutely love to help out our veterans.
Thank you so much, Rocio. Wonderful. Well, with that, we can continue. Okay, so now that we know how we locate what departments are purchasing your products and services, let's talk about the folks that you should be marketing your products and services to, the SB and DVB advocate. So in short, they're going to be state employees who advocate for small and disabled veteran-owned businesses. To give you an idea, any agency and state department that procures at least $100,000 per year has to have an SB and DVB advocate. They typically work in purchasing within their designated department, and they're who can recommend your company to their buyers. So again, advocates support the state's mandate to contract with SBs and DVBEs. As you know, the state has a mandate that every state department or agency has to spend at least 25% of all contract dollars with small businesses and at least 3% of all contract dollars with disabled veteran business enterprises. The advocates make sure that we are staying true to that state departments are doing that. So the SB and DVB advocate is here to help you pursue contract opportunities with the department that they work for. They, again, work closely with the buyers in their department, and that is their role. So they're going to be your first point of contact and are who you can talk to about your products and services, your capabilities, your experience. They're who you can ask questions about. Hey, this is who I am, what I do. Do you have any current contract opportunities? Do you have anything coming up, right? Because while most contract opportunities do get posted on eProcure, there are times that they just need something quick. If an advocate remembers, Linda from this company that provides the service and something comes up, you've been emailing them, they remember you, they have your capabilities statement on file, they're more likely to just reach out to you than go through eProcure and do a search. So this is how you can be proactive in trying to get those contract opportunities. So here's the basic of what we recommend you have when you reach an advocate. So remember to keep your email short, sweet, and to the point. They get a lot of emails, so you don't want to make sure that you're sending a really long email that they'll read the first 2 sentences and then maybe gleam over the rest. And also always remember to include your certification ID in your email so that it can easily identify you as a certified firm. They get emails from everybody, not just certified firms. So I always recommend put it in the subject line. Just start with SB or DVB certification ID number blank. That way they know, oh, this is somebody that I need to be working with, so that they take a little extra time looking at your email. And then tell them about your business, what products or services you provide. The best way to do this that I find, and also so that you can keep your email succinct, is attach a capability statement. Now, if you're not familiar with a capability statement, it's basically just a resume for your business. So here's a very generic example that we created of what that can look like. Just like with regular resumes, there's not any specific template that you have to follow. There's no things that are mandatory that are on there, but obviously what we recommend is the information about your business, location, contact information, your contact information, what you do, what products or services you provide. It's great to have your SPSC codes or keywords in there. And then if you need help creating or refining a capability statement, I highly recommend that you reach out to a small business development center or an Apex accelerator in your region. They work with businesses a lot to curate these. So they have preset templates that they can send to you so that you can start creating that, and they can meet with you as well to make sure that it's strong. They can help you polish it as well. And I'll talk about them a little bit more towards the end of the presentation. So, and if you need some guidance on what you should be asking an advocate when you email them, here's some very basic questions to get you started. So, do you have any current or upcoming contract opportunities? Can you include me in relevant solicitations? And can you provide a list of commonly purchased goods or services? So how do we find an advocate? You're going to go back to caliprocure.ca.gov, and you're going to click that Find Training and Resources tile. Then you're going to go to the training and resources page. There's a lot of very valuable information here. So if you haven't spent some time here yet, I always recommend that you do. But for this, you're going to scroll down to the bottom and you're going to click that link titled Contact a Small Business and DVBE Advocate. It's going to take you to our advocates page, which is going to hold a lot more information about what I touched on so far, but in more detail. And then you're going to click that View Direct or Advocate Directory button right here, and it's going to take you to the Advocate Directory. So this is going to provide you the department name, the office address, the advocate's name, and their contact information, including their email, phone number, and department website. As you remember, all departments that purchase at least $100,000 a year have to have an advocate, and they're all going to be listed here. So bigger departments that have a lot of purchasing will likely have more than one. Other departments will have at least one, and you can always reach out to them. You can narrow it down by department name, right? If we've done our research in Skippers and we know we have the departments written down that constantly buy our products and services, then that button that says department name, you can just go straight by that. Otherwise, you can scroll through here. They're in alphabetical order. And then you also see circled right there, SB DVBE first policy. So that is a formal policy that stipulates that staff have to approach every solicitation through the lens of small business and DVBE and work to incorporate those businesses from the very beginning. So it's always good to just kind of click on that button, see what pops up. And even if these departments don't often buy your products and services, it's not a bad idea to reach out to them so that they have your information handy for when they do purchase your products and services, they can reach out to you as well. Okay, do we have any questions about advocates? All righty, I see one question, but that is mostly for Rocio. If there's a link for the 15th Annual Veteran Small Business Trade Show in Moreno Valley.
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Oh, and I see that it's already been thrown in there. Perfect. Thank you. All righty, well, with that, we will keep moving. Okay, really quickly, I also want to touch base on our reciprocity partners. So a reciprocity partner is a city, county, agency, or special district that honors the state of California's small business and/or disabled veteran business enterprise certification as acceptance for their individual business enterprise program. This means that a reciprocity partner throughout the state will consider you certified in their program, even if you don't have their specific certification, because they recognize the state certification in place of it. So how is this helpful to you? Because it opens a lot of doors for new opportunities without you having to go and get each individual certification. For example, let's say you just started your business and you want to contract with the state of California, but maybe that just seems a little too daunting to start. However, starting with your city or your county or your local utility company feels a lot more comfortable. Well, if they're a reciprocity partner, then you can go straight into business with them without having to find out how to register for their program, how to get their certification. Keep a note of when that certification expires so that you make sure that you're renewing them all on time. You can just certify your business with the state and keep that certification up to date, and you're good to go with all of these. So it not only does that, but also once you're working with these departments or cities, counties, whatever it may be, it also gives you a proven track record of a good business to work with for when you are ready to do business with the state of California. Okay, with that, we can move on. Moving on, I want to briefly also introduce you to the SB and DVB Emergency Registry. So the Emergency Registry was created to help SBs and DVBs participate in emergency contracting opportunities. So it's designed specifically to aid state departments in connecting with certified businesses who can quickly offer specialized emergency goods and services in the case of an emergency. So unlike eProcure, this portal will only include businesses that can provide products or services in predetermined categories. So what businesses should sign up? So an SB or DVB who is currently ready and able to support the state of California in the state of an emergency. Now, what do I mean when I say emergency? Fires, floods, public health emergencies like COVID, anything like that. And a business that understands that emergency contracting requires fast around-the-clock turnaround times. So please don't register unless you're fully capable of immediately providing that products and services when you get that call, right? You might get that call at 3 in the morning that there's been a big accident and debris removal is needed on this highway. Well, if you get a call at 3 in the morning, you can't say, oh, I'm not ready, or I don't have the equipment that I registered for. You want to make sure that if you registered, it's because you can do that job. So here's some of the emergency registry categories. So you have to select at least one when you register so that we know what category you can provide a service in. And it's critical that you're truthful and accurate in selecting and describing the products and services from these predetermined categories that your company can do. Because imagine in the state of an emergency, a department having to go through multiple businesses in the middle of the night when there's property or lives at risk, right? They need to know that if you registered for the emergency registry, is because you can provide these services when you get that call. So if your business is ready for something like this and you're interested and want to sign up, this is the basic information that you will need to register. And please do not forget to include the emergency after hours name, contact, name and phone number, since that is most likely when you're going to get that call. And let's talk about how you register for it. So you're going to go back to eProcure and you're going to click the Sell to the State tile. And this is where you're going to find information for the emergency registry. You're going to click that link. That's going to take you to the DGS webpage where you can learn all about the emergency registry. It'll go into the different categories in detail, and it will walk you through step by step on how to register. Okay, moving on. This and the next slide will cover commercially useful function, often referred to as CUF. So CUF is going to apply to all SBs and DVBEs that are bidding and participating in the contract. Basically, this is just here to serve as a reminder that you need to perform the agreed upon contract. As long as you are forthright and honest and you're doing the job that you signed up for, then you are fine. CUF is just here to protect the SB and DVBE program. So if and when any of these apply to you, then your business does not perform CUF. And if someone is trying to bypass CUF, that is program abuse. We take that seriously. There's hefty fines associated with this. Typically, that happens when a larger organization, like a prime, says that they're utilizing an SB or DVB to do part of the job, right? They're subcontracting to them so that they can get that contract because an SB or DVB is required, but then they're not giving you the job and they're just taking on that job and pocketing the money. That is the violation. Our goal is to keep the playing field leveled for you, the SB and DVB business. Now, I know that may seem like a lot to remember, but there are a lot of wonderful organizations that provide assistance to you at no cost. For new businesses, there's small business development centers, SBDCs for short, which can help you create a business plan, create a marketing package, get access to capital. So if you need loans or need help with banking and so much more. And if you're an established business or you're just ready to take on government contracting, there's Apex accelerators, and they can help you complete solicitations at all levels of government. So city, county, state, and federal. So let's say you find a contract opportunity with the state, right? And you see it, you're like, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it. Unfortunately, my team wouldn't be able to help you because that would be unfair to another business going after the same solicitation, but they can, and they do it all at no cost. And they're the experts in it because this is what they do day in and day out. So definitely take advantage of this free resource. And lastly, there's also SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives, which is great for newer businesses who just need mentorship as well. And all of these are regional. So I always recommend Google, SBDC or Apex Accelerator or SCORE, go to their website, look at the region, and you can find the one that's closest to you. And that's not to say that you can't contact any of them. They can all help you. It doesn't have to be within your region, but the one in your region will be more familiar with how your city and county goes about procurement opportunities or any opportunities that might be coming down the line. So you want to reach out to those. And again, covered a lot of material. Not everything will stick, but I will share a copy of this presentation with our host today who can share it along with you, along with all the links that I referenced. And here's a quick refresher of what we went over today. So we discussed eProcure profiles, your keywords and UNSPSC codes. How do we find current contract opportunities? How do we research past purchases? The small business and disabled veteran business enterprise advocates, the reciprocity partners, emergency contracting, and commercially useful function. If you want to stay in the loop of what we're working on, really quick plug for our LinkedIn. Every Tuesday, we have a Tuesday Essentials post where we highlight upcoming solicitations and various tips and tricks for doing business with the state of California. On Wednesdays, we have the Wednesday watch list where we highlight all of our upcoming events, both virtual like this webinar, but also in person, and so much more. So if you're already active on LinkedIn, please give us a follow and you'll find some helpful information on there. And if you have complex questions or questions you need experts on, you can always schedule a virtual consultation with our team. So we cover those 4 categories that you see there, but honestly, anything that you have questions about on your profile, maybe there's something that didn't make sense, you need assistance with, we're happy to do that at no cost. We have our staff there Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So you can schedule a time and date that works best for you. And this is, of course, at no cost to you. And lastly, thank you again so much for taking the time to be with us here today. I will open it up for Q&A, but here's my contact information again. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Email does work a little faster for me because I give a lot of presentations, both virtual and in person. So email, I can check in between and get back to you. Phone might take me a little bit longer, but I am here to help.
Thank you so much, Mariela. It was an amazing presentation. And I'm glad that you brought up the free resources for helping out small businesses with their applications, because I see a lot of advertisement, companies, smaller companies saying, hey, we charge a fee, we do this. And, even I wasn't aware that there's free resources such as the companies that you mentioned. So that's very valuable, especially for someone that's starting off where they're strapped for cash and, paying someone $5,000 for them to get their applications filled out when they could call and get that guidance.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so guys, if you guys have any questions, we have Mariela's contact information. And I'm just going to read out here Albert's comments about the event we have on October 8th. So we are going to be sponsoring veteran businesses at no cost. And if you're interested in getting your business sponsored, please reach out to any of us. Mariela's information is on here. You can reach me out on LinkedIn, and I will also, post my email in the comments. That way you guys can have direct access to me. But again, we have these webinars on a monthly basis with representatives of DGS, and we are here to help you guys out with any questions or concerns. So I want to thank everybody that joined us this morning, and we look forward to having you guys on the next one.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
You see him? He's just as dead as we are. Now, you listen to me, youngster. Someday you're gonna wake up fighting on a beachhead. You pray to God some guy doesn't get killed because of your foolishness. You join the Marine Corps, Owens. We don't deal in pity and sympathy.
I try.
Try? We don't try in this Marine Corps. We either do or we don't. We don't straddle any fences, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Every time you make one of these little mistakes of yours, you're gonna turn around and I'll be standing right there.
Need any money or anything, Man, I got over like a fat rat when I got out, man. I got my school money coming from the government once a month. I got my veterans check coming once a month. I got my 50% medical check coming to me for the rest of my life.